Hey everyone, Eric Thompson here. Hope that you're doing well. Welcome to the third installment of our top film series. I got a guest tonight. She's real. I have not been lying to you all this time. Tori, my girlfriend, is here. Welcome. And tonight we're going to talk about our favorite top 10 animated films. Now, first, two points of business. I already took care of one because Tori is here. I'm so glad you're here. It'll be fun. Very fun. Yes. Two, this week I dropped the reviews from Tuesday and then today on Friday. Tuesday just did not come together. It was supposed to be, thank you, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. You know what I'm talking about. That's a good one. But there was not the time, and so I'll try to go pick it up later on in the season, in the Lenten season, but if not, what can I say? And for today, for Friday, unfortunately, Tori and I and her sister and my little bro Aaron, who is not a man, but my little bro, are going into Chicago to see the opera Showboat, and so I will not have the time to post a review then. So hope that you will excuse that. That was supposed to be The Company Men. None of you probably saw that, but it was pretty good. It was very topical for the time, and especially for our time now with economic difficulties. Anyway, here we are tonight once again. Top 10 list. I guess I was thinking about this. Technically, I've done 4 because the first one was that, what was it, the love movies on Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Romantic films. But it was more theological, it was a little more reflection there, so I'm not going to count it. So this is our third. I promised you drama last week, and I apologize for that. But, you know, what are you going to do? And by the way, before I forget, and I will if I don't say it, then... yes, thank you for your reactions and your responses on the last video of the top 10 war films. Again, just a reminder, my lists are not definitive, okay? They are just my personal top 10, okay? It is not like I'm saying these are absolutely the best or the worst. I'm just giving my opinion. So you can respect that therein. And I appreciate you guys posting your favorites and certainly keep up. And if you feel so inclined, make your own video. I'd love to see it, okay? Very good. Are you ready?
Yes, although we should point out also that I made the bed for Aunt Carol.
Aunt Carol, she made the bed this time. I did not, and she even put my actual blanket underneath the quilt. So it is much it is not a problem. Thank you. Okay, and I think our Vegas software over here is working. Very good. Okay, and so that was it's fun shtick. It's fun. People enjoy it. Okay. Now I'm starting our time.
Yes.
How we're going to do this is I'll say mine, my number 10, and then Tori will share hers, and we'll go back and forth until eventually we have reached our number 1s, and then we will we'll say goodbye. All right. By the way, just to frame it, and some people appreciated this last week with the war films. With the animated films, we decided to do pure animation, not films that may have featured an animated character, such as Tori's dad, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And really, the majority of the characters there are animated. I mean, you have, was it Bob Hoskins? I can't remember who it was. Whoever it was, he was there, and you had some other real-life characters, Christopher Lloyd, holy smokes, who can forget. But it was still a live-action film. You know, it was shot against a live screen. Because, I mean, to that end, you know, the Avatar would certainly be in the animated film world. Or even Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, which was done entirely on green screen. You remember that movie? You ever seen that movie?
No.
It was good. The only real things in the shot were the people and the actual props they interacted with. It was really kind of revolutionary first time. Anyway, so none of that this time. Okay, just true, fully animated films. Otherwise, Jurassic Park would have been it because the T-Rex was not real. My number 10, one of Pixar's great hits, set in the City of Light. Yes. Ratatouille. Now, I saw Ratatouille when I was working at Trinity Lutheran College as a sous chef, and so I was thinking in the chef frame of mind and about all of these things, and I saw this movie about a little mouse that becomes a great chef, and I thought, well, if the mouse can do it, then I can too. I did not become a great chef, but I enjoyed the movie, and you really do get a sense of the formal kitchen. I mean, you really learn things about how a real kitchen works, and certainly the drama is exceptional, and you have an excellent plot line with child gets lost, child comes home, sort of a prodigal son story. It's a good one, and it's certainly in line with the caliber of the rest of those Pixar films. So my number 10, Ratatouille. Tori, what do you got?
My number 10 is The Nightmare Before Christmas, because I wanted to show Tim Burton a little love. And you get Halloween and Christmas all in one, so
Why not?
what's not to like? And shout out to my friend Courtney, because this is her favorite film, and we're giving shout outs to people, I guess.
Yes,
But the stop motion animation, it was just really visually appealing, and the music is fun. Danny Elfman, I believe.
That's correct.
So that's my number 10.
My number 9, you know, if he was in an animated movie, I had to put him in there. Tom Hanks, Polar Express. Oh, man. If you've seen this movie, I don't have to say anything. You know what's up. I guess I saw it when it came out there. It must have been 07, 06, 07, 05, whenever it was, Christmas time. And I went and saw it a couple times in the theater. At first, I thought it was too scary for children because there were all the roller coaster kind of scenes and when the train goes across the ice over lake. But, oh, my gosh. And what sold it for me was Tom Hanks and Bob Zemeckis. And, of course, this was not their first association on film. Do you know what other films they did together?
I do not.
You got your Forrest Gump. You got your, Castaway. Okay, that's enough. And so for them to make those 2 films and then to try this, a whole different breed of film, was pretty awesome. And there was some pioneering in the motion capture animation technology in this film as well. The Tom Hanks played 5 characters. It was really good, really well done, full of Christmas spirit. Pretty fair music, which Tom Hanks is slated to have written some of, although we do not know for sure. Tori, number 9.
My number 9 is The Secret of Kells, which apparently is not all that popular. I made my parents watch it, though, a couple weeks ago, and they really enjoyed it. But it is a Irish, French, Belgian film that came over here, I guess, and it was nominated for Best Animated Feature. It lost to Up, I think. And I don't know why it's not more popular because it's really, really awesome. The story, I guess, is not all that complex or the characters, but it's really, again, like my number 10, really visually appealing. And the story basically is about a young boy who's living with monks during the time that Vikings were attacking Ireland. And there's some pagan stuff in there and Christian stuff, and they're making an illuminated manuscript, which was real. It's the Book of Kells. But they made up a story about how it was made. So the illuminated manuscript really inspires the art for the whole thing, and it's just beautiful. So, and also I guess I'm somewhat of a medievalist, so that was why this film appealed to me.
And I believe it's on either Amazon Prime or Netflix or one of those 2, and so get out there, check it out. I want to see it myself. Number 8, one from my childhood, so my sister will appreciate this. The Brave Little Toaster. Now, it is on Netflix. It is free. Well, I mean, you're paying anyway. You know what I'm saying? I have not seen it in like 15 years, and I really cannot remember any of the plot line except that there is a toaster that is small and somewhat brave. I remember the vacuum cleaner, and I remember either the furnace or the AC unit, and I remember they were in a junkyard. So obviously, it did not stick with me that well. But it was still a film that appealed to me at that young age. It was of the adventure, epic adventure type, fantastic adventure. I really enjoyed it, and it was just one that I felt I wanted to pay homage to. Although as we go along, I will give a nod to a couple other films that were important in my childhood. Your number 8.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about it too much. It's The Little Mermaid, and it is also on Eric's list. And so, just growing up, my dad really loved that film. So, and again, another shout out to him. And that's really why it made my top 10. But we would sing the songs all the time when we were little, and my dad has a really good Sebastian impression. So there you go.
I've not heard it yet. Maybe I have. I don't think I have.
No, you have not.
Soon. I'll be the chef, the French cook. Remember that scene? Mm-hmm. Les poissons. You see what I'm talking about? Okay. Number 7 for me was WALL-E. So we're going to Pixar again. We're going to the Pixar basket. You know it's not going to be the last time. I'm sure you can guess what we're going to go back for. WALL-E was appealing on many levels. Now, I'll be straight. I'm going to say it with my girlfriend here, and I'm going to be vulnerable. I saw it during a time when I was very upset because I had lost a very special person in my life. And then to see WALL-E try to win this supernatural, unbelievable creature was very stirring to me, and I cried. I cried like a little baby in the theater. Boo! She won't hold his hand because he's in lockdown mode. Boo! You remember that scene? when he was trying to pull the little flipper out and put his in. It was, oh my gosh, it was heartbreaking. And then the heaven, I'm in heaven. Oh my gosh. So there was an emotional connection to that movie. But on the technical side, you have sound effects from, that's right, Star Wars. Because Ben Burtt, the guy who did the sound effects for all 6 Star Wars films, did the sound design, the sound effects for WALL-E. And so if it sounds like you hear R2-D2 and WALL-E, it's because you actually do. He reproduced a lot of those sounds for that film. So they're nuanced at times, but still an incredible story, an epic story, certainly with a great scope and a little bit of commentary on our own lifestyles and how our gluttony and our sloth may catch up with us one day if we should go into outer space on a huge cruise ship. You're 7.
My 7 is My Neighbor Totoro, or Totoro. I've heard it's pronounced both ways in the movie. And it is a Japanese film by Hayao Miyazaki. Hayao Miyazaki, that's how you say it. Studio Ghibli, things that are difficult to pronounce. And I just remember identifying with it a lot when I was growing up because there's 2 little girls, and so it made me think of my little sister. And they go and their mother is sick, and they're living with their father, and it's very just realistic. And they have an imaginary friend, the Totoro, and I remember that it wasn't quite as out there as some other things, and like I said, I just identified with the really realistic portrayal of this family, and the dad is awesome in that movie, so.
That's awesome. That's cool. My number 6, we'll get to its predecessor later on, but oh gosh, it must have been 2000 or 2001, Fantasia 2000. It must have been 2000. That would only make sense. Fantasia 2000, which followed in the footsteps of a truly groundbreaking film. Now, again, I'll just give you the spoiler alert. I got it later on, so I'm going to talk about it more then. But Fantasia 2000 seeked to develop and to amplify what Fantasia had done. And Walt Disney apparently himself had wanted to do a Fantasia sequel for a long time. But producers at Disney, they shot it down, and certainly once they got into the larger projects like your Aladdins and your Little Mermaids and all of that, they said, this is where the money is, this is where the interest is, this is where the music is, we want to go with that. And Fantasia was using reproduced music. Classical music had been written hundreds of years before. But Fantasia 2000 really contained some special scenes, and noteworthy of them, probably the Pines of Rome, with that nature scene with the earth sprite, I guess, or the earth spirit, and then the elk and the destruction of the earth, but then the Pines of Rome, the everlasting city, and the earth rising back to life, and especially the Rhapsody in Blue by, I can't remember the cartoonist's name. He drew for the New Yorker for years. And so you have this New York setting with Rhapsody in Blue, that iconic American piece by Gershwin. So, holy smokes, one of my favorites for sure. What do you have?
My 6 is WALL-E, so I won't say too much about it since we already covered it, but I will say I remember that the silence at the beginning of it for a long time, I don't know how long it lasts, but that was really cool and striking, and I appreciated that. So.
Reflecting the uninhabitable planet, the desolation. Yeah. My number 5, and it was hard to put it at this pole position, but here it is, Toy Story 3. Now, it is difficult to say that it is better necessarily than Toy Story 1 or 2. Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is somewhat reliable, has Toy Story as their number 1 animated film of them all. And Toy Story 2 is not far behind. They both had 100% on the fresh meter or whatever. But I felt like I had the strongest emotional connection to Toy Story 3. Not only when they were in the incinerator or whatever it was in the junkyard and they were falling in and you didn't know, but I think for me the most tender scene was probably for many people at the end. When, Andy?
Yes.
When he wants to give his toys back. And it wasn't even that, it was, of course, the music. And Randy Newman's tender piano comes in, just almost over nothing, just almost by itself, and it just plays that da-da-da-dee-da-dee, you've got a friend in me, and just no words, just that melody, and it was so crushing because you felt immediately the weight of the whole series coming to completion. And so certainly a nod to the whole series, but also to the genius of those film producers and those animators who made it such an endearing part of my childhood, and I would say probably Tori's as well, and so many kids in America and across the world.
My number 5 is Finding Nemo. I don't have a whole lot to say about it except that it was just really funny and the voice acting is great. Ellen as Dory doesn't really get better than that. And I just remember this is one of those films that I watch over and over and over again every time we're having a sleepover. We're gonna watch Finding Nemo. We're on the bus going somewhere. We're gonna watch Finding Nemo.
Oh man.
So.
Just today, I saw someone post the "Just Keep Swimming" on
Yeah.
their Facebook wall. Just today, so there you go. It lives on. My number 4, Aladdin. Now, for number 4 and number 3, I want to say up front that these are films that my sister and I were digging when we were younger. Aladdin had all the pieces for me. You know, it was epic, it was mysterious, it had spiritual elements, kind of, you know, or at least, you know, kind of in that sci-fi spiritual fantasy vein, certainly with the genie. And then you had, I mean, Robin Williams came out and just took it to a whole new level as far as, you know, celebrity appearances in Disney films, which have not always been the best. But he made it his own, as he has a way of doing in all his films. And certainly, and I've told many young men that I've worked with, and they always look so brave, and I look at them and I said, "Have you seen Aladdin?" They say, "Yeah, I've seen Aladdin." And I say, "You, like every other man, wish that you were Aladdin on that magic carpet ride with Jasmine, singing A Whole New World." And they're like, "No, man," but you know that you were. I was. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Okay, that's all. Aladdin, number 4.
My number 4 is another Miyazaki film, Spirited Away, and it won Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, I believe, and when it came out, it was the highest grossing film in Japan ever, topped Titanic, I think. There might be something now that is higher than that film, but it is, I don't even know what to say about it. It's, I'm not, yeah, I know, I need to chill. The main character, Chihiro, goes and she just gets transported into this alternate reality, and her parents are turned into pigs, and she has to figure out how to save them, and she's working like as a slave at a bathhouse, and there's the stink spirit and the witch and all this crazy stuff going on, and I think some of whatever is happening is lost on us as Americans because it's like a critique of Japanese culture, and we are not Japanese, but I think the story still is really magical and appealing, and there's some really haunting, awesome music in there that makes me feel emotional whenever I hear it. And there you go, Spirited Away. So again, it's one of those Japanese films like My Neighbor Totoro that maybe people haven't seen, but you should check it out.
Please do. Number 3, we're finally there, the top 3. My number 3, again, you know, a reflection of my sister and my enjoyment when we were younger, The Little Mermaid. Now, yes, of course, I have to choose it because it is the only film that has a Prince Eric in it that I know of, which he was not as handsome as me, although I would have done for his figure. But what a film. Now, remember and get it in your brains that at the time, musicals were shot. You really only had Phantom of the Opera and Cats. That was it. Andrew Lloyd Webber was the Lord of Broadway, and you had nothing really happening. But then, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman got together, and they wrote this unbelievable score to this movie. And it was fun, and it was unforgettable. And they used musical techniques that drew you in, and it became sort of a renaissance for Disney, where now Disney started making actual musicals and not just animated films that had a couple musical numbers. Now, I'm not saying that all the success is credited just to Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, or I said it backwards, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, you can say either way. But the music is such a mainstay, and certainly we still know those songs, we still love those songs, holy smokes. But also, to take this very traditional tale, a well-known tale, an epic tale, and to represent it in such a way where it was accessible to the young and enjoyed by young people, and also so enjoyed by older folks as well, by adults.
As in, the Little Mermaid does not kill herself at the end of the movie, as in the original version. So if you didn't know that, it ends
there you go.
Totally.
So thank you, Ariel, for just growing legs. We appreciate that. We're almost there. Number 3.
Okay, number 3. Mine, I also chose that had a lot, the music had a lot to do with it. That is what I'm trying to say. The Lion King.
Yep.
I remember, this is another one that my sister and I really loved, that we watched over and over and over again, and I remember, you know, in the VCR that we would rewind it and watch our favorite scenes with the music over and over, and we pretended to be lions a lot. So that doesn't really speak to the quality of the film. But I think that Be Prepared is the best Disney villain song that there is.
Oh.
Period. Just gonna put that out there.
That's high praise.
Right behind it is
What unfortunate
Yes.
souls.
But Be Prepared tops that.
It is bigger. It's a bigger scale number. And you remember the Nazis? The Nazi hyenas, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that we should just keep going.
And what was I gonna say? Oh, that it is based on Hamlet. So if you didn't know that, interesting, good story there. And there you go, Lion King. It's a classic.
It is. It is. My number 2, I told you about it before. I told you about its sequel before. Number 2, let's see, we did it. We were very bad. We just broke
20 minutes, 30 seconds.
We just broke the 20-minute mark. I apologize for that. So you know what's going to happen. I got to put it up on YouTube. But it was 2 lists. What am I going to do? How can we not talk about the movies? Okay. If you want an abridged version, then go look somewhere else. Okay. Now, number 2, Fantasia, 1940, wartime, or kind of in between wartime a little bit, and Walt Disney meets with Leopold Stokowski, who was the principal conductor, artistic director for the Philadelphia Orchestra, and they start talking about doing this project in which animation is set in sync to music, classical music that people knew. And, you know, I believe that he even approached Bernstein about it originally, and Bernstein turned it down. But Stokowski, he saw the genius, and he jumped on board. And what we came out with was a miracle. Holy smokes. If you have not seen it, you gotta just buy it. Don't even waste time renting. Who rents anymore anyway? Just buy it. You will not be disappointed. It's iconic scenes from the Nutcracker and from Night on Bald Mountain and from whatever it's called. And there's an Ave Maria in there, Schubert's Ave Maria. Also, speaking of invention, Fantasound was invented for this film, also called Disney Sound. And what they wanted to do, and who knows who decided exactly, but they wanted it to seem as if the orchestra was in the theater with the audience. And so, of course, now we call that surround sound. At the time, they called it Fantasound because there was no surround sound whatsoever. Everything was single channel. Everything was mono, as it were. But they said, no, let's put more speakers in the theater so that it sounds like the person is in the middle of the orchestra, as if they went to the concert hall and sat in the middle. And so it was the first appearance of what would become surround sound, even though they only used it, I think, in like 20 theaters when it was released, total. And even then it was, if one speaker broke, nothing worked and all this. But it paved the way for what is a standard and expected now in our theater experience. I can't take it away. I couldn't go any less with it. And I couldn't make it the number 1, which I will talk about in just a moment after Tori talks about her number 2.
My number 2 is Up. It made me so happy when I saw it. That's like the best way to describe it, probably. I was just grinning through the whole thing, except when
the dogs.
Ellie
Squirrels.
and Carl. No, the most fantastic love montage in any film ever. I shouldn't say that. I haven't seen every film ever, but it was so wonderful. It's just a couple minutes. You remember that montage, right?
Twilight? What is this?
In Up, when Carl and Ellie, the old man,
Right,
they're young and they fall in love.
You've seen
them, and then she gets old and then she dies. It's not a spoiler because it happens in the beginning. So,
unless you've only seen the first minute,
she's gonna die. Shouldn't have said that, but the characters are really unique and fun, and I think there's so many of these movies that the main character is like a princess or a little kid, and their protagonist is an old man, and I guess I was older when I saw it, so I can't really speak to little kids identifying with it, but I think they pulled it off, so that's cool.
And the antagonist is
a dog? Dogs.
An old man.
What?
Controlling the dogs.
Oh, right,
Christopher
yes.
Plummer, congratulations on that Academy Award, sir. We were very proud of you for that. Yeah, Up was tremendous. You know, it wasn't that I didn't want to put it on my top 10. Certainly it was deserving.
But you didn't.
But I didn't. But, you know, again, I'm not Tori. I'm myself. So what else I want to say about it, too? Oh, I was teasing, of course, about the Twilight, but you have seen the Facebook pictures with the what does it say?
The Pixar told a better story with this montage in a couple
5 minutes than Twilight did in 6 books or whatever it was. 5 books. Okay.
4, 5,
5.
4 or 5.
Too many.
All
right. My number one could only be one. Not Highlander. Beauty and the Beast. Okay. Now, what can I say? There is so much to say here about this movie. I must be succinct because we are over 25 minutes now. And that is just unnecessary. And my voice is starting to become very weak. So, again, the music. Once again, you have the thrilling combination of Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. The last film that they worked on. Howard Ashman died of HIV, AIDS, right there toward the end of the production. The film was dedicated to him. And again, best score and best original song. Thank you, Celine Dion, by the way, for making that so huge. And P.O. Bryson, oh my gosh. Also in Beauty and the Beast, something people are not necessarily aware of. You remember the ballroom scene there when they're the big dance scene? 3D environment. One of the first, not the first, but one of the first Disney films to use or to utilize 3D digital technology in the film, and that was noteworthy, I thought. But you also had Unbelievable. That was from Aladdin. Unbelievable Signs. Sorry, I'm just getting mixed up. You had a strong cast, a strong and true plot, one that was both easy to follow and convicting, and somehow heart-wrenching to everyone who saw it. Everyone seemed to identify with some character, whether you were, whether you were the jaded teenager girl, or whether you were the lonely beast, okay, or whatever it was, or whether you felt disregarded, like the clock, or the candelabra, or whatever it was, or you felt like the popular guy that no one really liked, like guest honor, or the popular guy's friend who gets no attention. You know what I'm saying? LeFou, okay. Anyway, maybe that's a stretch. I don't know. I mean, but of course, I being a somewhat larger and hairier man, which is not my fault. It just happens. I certainly have felt like the Beast, and so there you go. So it was important to me. But still, the music is so endearing. I really enjoy it, and so now my beauty is number one. What do you have?
My number one, we have mentioned before, Toy Story 3 is my number one. I'm not sure if I actually like it better than the first Toy Story movie, but representing all of them,
yeah.
I put it up there. It made me cry, and I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19, and I don't really cry in movies very much, so that said something. Although I cried in the incinerator when I thought they were all going to die, but not at the very end, so I don't know what that says about both of us. I think Barry pretty much covered it when he talked about Toy Story 3, but I think that it deserves a much higher place than
number 5.
Number 5, which is why it's my number 1.
Well, yes, you have drawn it.
Tom Hanks.
You have gone. Fair enough. You only played one role in that movie, though, and not 5. Okay. I said it before, but about Toy Story 3. What else can be said? It is a true capstone, and certainly the most lucrative of all those films. It is generally not rated or critiqued as being the best. And that's fair. Even though it was a development, or in some ways a recapitulation of technology and of plot effects that had been used before. Certainly Toy Story 1 was more of an innovation at the time. And you go back and watch it now and think, how did we ever put up with those awful animations? Because in Toy Story 3, everything is so crisp and clear and pure, and the colors are so well saturated in all of this. But it had to start somewhere, and I think that's why normally Toy Story 1 or 2 is heralded somewhat higher than the third. But I think we can agree on that, though, is that the third did still, command a very emotional response. And so there you are.
And you have to give it some credit. We were talking earlier about horrible Disney sequels and sequels of movies in general, so the fact that they managed to pull it off for 3 movies says something.
2 awesome sequels. Now, I think it is only fair to at least tip our hats to, well, first I want to say, I understand that all but 2 of my films are Disney movies. You know what? Deal with it. And I was convicted of that at first. I said, that's like a default. But I feel like I'm not I'm not just copping out with the Disney films. I feel like I chose well with my own list. It's my own list. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I feel like I've said that a lot when people are coming at me. It's my list. You put yours down below, please. Okay. Now, but I at least, I think we can both agree, we do want to just tip our hats to to the elder Disney films, which by no means are any less glorious than these. I'm talking Cinderella. I'm talking Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. I'm talking the Deer movie.
Bambi.
I'm talking the Elephant movie.
Dumbo.
I'm talking the movie with the girl with the sleeping problem.
Sleeping Beauty, yes.
What is wrong with her? What's happening? She's got okay. Because those were at the time, they were also monumental efforts, and those are true classics. And so to have these films, as we've discussed here, join those ranks, that is noteworthy. Holy smokes! Well, that is it. I suppose I'll try to put the lists up over here by me, Eric and Tori's top 10. A half an hour. Can you believe it? But if you've stayed this long, was that
31 minutes.
30 minutes and 50 seconds. If you've stayed this long, thank you so much for waiting it out, for sitting it out. We appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I think that deserves a high five.
High five, right on. Okay. Well, please stick around. We'll be back next week. Next week, I will do, unless you want to jump in again, although not for half an hour. Holy smokes. I mean, if anyone's still watching, it's a miracle. But we'll do drama next week, okay? And then that's 2 left. So what was then we have action. Daryl, I'm gonna get your Terminator in there, brother. Okay, I'm gonna put Terminator in the action top 10. Terminator 2. I'll talk about it later. And then top 10 romance. I'm gonna revisit that from Valentine's Day. And then the very last one, then I will finally give my Eric Thompson's top 10 movies of all. I've already revealed some, but on Good Friday, I will post that up, okay? Thank you all so much. Anything else you want to say?
No, I don't think so.
Very good. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for
guys.
watching.
Take care. Bye.